This famous photograph was taken on Tuesday, the 16th of April 1912, and it shows 15-year-old Edward Ned Parfett selling newspapers here on Cockspur Street in central London. Ned was one of 6 children and was living, at the time, not too far away, with his family on Cornwall Road in Lambeth, but after working numerous jobs throughout his childhood, had only begun selling newspapers after being injured on his father's building site. Little more than 2 years after that photograph was taken, however, on the 4th of August 1914, Great Britain entered the First World War, and 2 years after that, Ned followed in the footsteps of his 3 older brothers, and after enlisting in the Royal Field Artillery, was sent to fight in France. This is him in his military uniform, but what exactly he did during his early days in the war might now be lost to history. By March of 1918, however, he was serving as a signaller with the 126 Battery near Arras in northern France. Signallers were responsible for shadowing officers during reconnaissance missions and were tasked with reeling out and maintaining the telephone wires that were used to report details of enemy positions. When the wires were then destroyed by shell fire, which they regularly were, it was also the signaller's duty to run out onto the battlefield and replace them, and if communications were to break down entirely, run alone through enemy fire to deliver the details personally. This made the signaller a high-value target and will regularly have placed him in great danger, but Ned had reportedly astounded those around him with his bravery. By the time October of 1918 arrived, Ned had become a seasoned soldier and had spent some 2 years on the front lines, but he was then informed that, on the 29th, he would be finally heading back to England on leave. He didn't know it, but with the armistice now only a week and a half away, that meant that his war was over. And late that evening, he was standing in the quartermaster's stores to be given a clean uniform before boarding a train for the French coast. It was at that moment, with a gunner William Scott and Corporal Henry Strachan standing alongside him, that a German artillery shell hit the building they were standing in and killed all 3 of them. Ned never lived to see the end of the war, but he also never learned that he'd been recommended for the military medal that was awarded to him posthumously for his gallant conduct as a signaller. On many occasions, one officer would later write, "He accompanied me during severe shelling, and I always placed the greatest confidence in him." With Scott and Strachan alongside him, he now lies buried in the Vershan-Morgray British War Cemetery in northern France. If you're ever in central London though, and happen to pass this spot, perhaps you'll stop to think of him. Don't forget to leave a like and follow. I'll see you back here next week for another Morbid Monday.